The final second of this Chiefs-Broncos game had everyone in Arrowhead Stadium holding their breath. This was obviously an up-and-down season for the Chiefs, unlike any other that we've seen in the past 5 years of their success. But when the lights were at their brightest, all of that didn't matter. Kansas City delivered once again. KU's punter, Damon Greaves, his family flew in for his senior day. They're from Australia. They flew all the way from around the world to watch him play on his senior day. Here's the thing, KU didn't punt one single time. Now we're always excited to see what rally towel they've got. Here we got the boys are playing some ball, because the boys are in fact playing some ball in October. A lot of people say, don't bet against Patrick Mahomes, don't make that mistake. Have you learned that?
Yeah.
The Chiefs are hoping to move to 5-0 on the season with the Saints in town tonight for Monday Night Football and remain one of only 2 undefeated teams in the NFL. But fans in attendance now have a bit of a dilemma. And the Wildcats didn't just beat the Cowboys, they put together a dominant performance both on offense and defense, full of explosive plays and turnovers. Well, Allen Fieldhouse is full and loud no matter who's in it, but we know it's always different when it's the Sunflower Showdown. They gave up a 25-point lead in the second. There's no sugarcoating that. Luckily for Cats fans, though, Jerome Tang knows how to win in overtime, and he's gotten pretty good at it. You could just tell this team was radiating energy, positivity, love, excitement, all the best things that you want to have in sports, because sports is supposed to be fun. The performance was so good, they're calling the Harlem native the King of New York. Managing feeling terrible for Jalen that he can't play when, preseason Big 12 Player of the Year, but also being happy for Jason. How do you kind of balance that?
Yeah.
High school basketball brings many awesome moments, half-court shots, dunks, buzzer beaters, the list goes on. But if you ever catch a Clifton Clyde varsity boys basketball game, you might witness a moment that's way bigger than basketball. Clifton Clyde senior Mason Tymire may not total the most minutes, but he's the heart and soul of the boys basketball team.
It's Mason's world. We're just living in it.
He's a kid that brings a lot of spirit.
I hit a big shot, I look over at the bench, and I see Mason jumping around.
Mason has Down syndrome, and to him, there's no reason why he can't do what he loves, which is play basketball. How much do you love being on this team?
A lot.
Me and his mom are just so proud of him playing and all the kids from everywhere around the community that look out for him and help him along.
Several times throughout the season, the Eagles will come together with their opponent to give Mason a shot at putting points on the board.
It takes you to look at it a little different, and I think that's what makes it so special. Is it's not really about the competition anymore. It's just about a kid shooting the ball.
He doesn't just shoot the ball, he's pretty good at netting it too, which is exactly what he's done in all 3 of the Eagles' most recent games.
Through my mind is Mason played defense once, but he's a shooter, he'll tell you that.
So when you got out to go hit that 3-pointer last week, how did that feel?
Happy.
When Mason hits a buzzer beater, well, I'll just let the reaction speak for itself.
He wants to help out the team, whether it be cheering or just a spirit or a shot. I think that's important for him, is to feel like he gave that part of it.
And, it just puts so much joy in his heart, and I think everybody that's there heart as well.
Not only does Mason love being on the court, being surrounded by his friends makes it even better.
Mason shows a lot of love towards, the team, and he shows us a lot of support, so it's really easy to support him and also show him love. Mason also is heavily involved in various sports through Special Olympics Kansas. You might be squinting your eyes for a second, wondering what this image is. Well, it's a swarm of bees, and these guys decided to pay a visit to the Emporia baseball team last week at practice. Lucky for the Spartans, their starting second baseman knew exactly what to do to handle this crisis, since he's been beekeeping and selling his own honey for years. The crack of a baseball bat and buzzing bees is the soundtrack of spring for Emporia sophomore Ox Shively. And last week at practice, the second baseman saw his 2 worlds collide.
Looked over at the wall over there, and it looked like a swarm of bees, and we didn't really know what to do. Called the city and trying to figure out if we were going to be able to practice or if they could get someone out here to take care of it, and completely forgot about our second baseman.
I asked my coaches if I could get it, and they're like, yeah, definitely, we need to get that figured out. So I went home, called my mom, got that figured out. She met me here, then we got it. It took like 15 minutes.
Not only did he save the day for the Spartans, but it also added about 3,000 bees to his beekeeping business, which he's ran since about the 3rd grade.
I read a Time for Kids magazine, and it said like they were endangered, and I just wanted to help them out.
Not only does Ox help save the bees,
So I have 10 hives right now, and I go out like once a week probably, make sure they're laying.
he then sells all the honey at the end of each summer.
You know, a lot of people in Emporia buy that, and I think he runs out of it every year.
And he certainly never imagined his side hustle would come in handy on the diamond.
Definitely was not expecting it, but that was cool.
Kind of looked back to the sideline as I was taking the field, and I was like, just kind of had a moment where I was like, wow, they're sending me out here to do this.
This being kicked the winning field goal for Kansas State in the Big 12 championship.
It felt incredible. It was special, and you know, it's hard to describe that feeling. It was just so incredible.
The people who have been with Ty since before he was a Wildcat say there was no doubt in their minds he'd make that kick.
And the fact that he walked on that field with that smile on his face and knew 100% that ball was going right through the middle of the field goals and we were winning this football game was unbelievable, and I knew he was going to make it.
Back in his Shawnee Heights days, Ty was a soccer player who didn't start football until his senior year when he just wanted to play with his friends.
He would come from soccer, change, and then run it on the practice field. And by the time he got to practice, we were already running our wind sprints toward the end of practice. He'd jump on the sideline and he would run cardio with the team after a full soccer practice. And then after that, he'd stay with me for an hour, hour and a half, and we would kick.
After graduation and 2 years spent at Butler, Ty came back to Northeast Kansas to join the Cats. Halfway through this season, he took on kicking, punting, and kickoff duties.
It's kind of cool to be able to share my story, and I hope it inspires other kickers and other Kansas players that might not get a shot immediately at high school, but find a way through the JUCO program or other schools in Kansas and then make their way up.
After the Big 12 championship win, Coach Kleiman said there may not have been a more valuable member of the team in the second half of the season than Ty.
That's who Ty is. I mean, that's the epitome of him. He's always been an all-in guy. You know, whatever we've asked him to do, whether it's in high school or at Butler or at Kansas State, he does whatever it takes.
And this Kansas kid is by no means shy about his love for K-State.
This team, Chris Kleiman, I love this team. I die for this team. I love this team.
When you see Topeka High senior Hank Stamper leading the Trojans to wins on the diamond, you never know he's battling a lot of invisible adversity. But no matter the challenge life has pitched Hank's way, he's never let it stop him from playing the game that he loves.
Scary, sad. I mean, thinking back, I hope I didn't fail him those first few years because we didn't know.
Life hasn't dealt Topeka High senior Hank Stamper the easiest of cards.
He didn't speak early on. I taught him how to sign. He signed for the first couple years. By the time he was in preschool, he had started complaining about pain.
Hank's family then spent years searching for answers and eventually got 3. The first diagnosis was XYY syndrome, impacting his core muscles and flexibility. The next was harder to swallow.
Then we got the social communication disorder, and that was really hard. That basically impacts every aspect of his life.
I have trouble communicating with people, understanding what's going on in social situations.
He doesn't watch movies, doesn't play video games. There's all kinds of things he just doesn't do.
And finally, they discovered the reason behind Hank's constant pain.
I have CMT, Charcot-Marie tooth. It causes pain in my feet and it damages my peripheral nerves in my hands and my feet.
It's a progressive, debilitating disease, and there's no cure. There's nothing we can do to stop it.
But he always had a happy place. The diamond.
My love for the game.
When he was little and we could take him to Royals game and he would sit through every minute. He wouldn't ask for snacks. He wasn't that kid. He was watching the game.
Hank plays through pain every day, but for baseball, it's worth it.
I know that I'm different than most kids, but I don't let that really affect how I play or how people see me.
His biggest goal has always been to play in college.
It's been a dream of mine since I was very young.
And now that dream is coming true. On Friday, Hank signed his NLI with Fort Hays State.
He works really hard. He takes any type of criticism or coaching really, really well. So he's a joy for me to have as a coach.
Though his path hasn't been easy, his resilience has inspired those around him.
We always just kind of wondered, where is he going to end up? And as we wondered that, he continued to show us that nothing was going to stop him.
It's really taught me a lot of life skills that I just need to keep going, pushing forward, give 110% every single day.
You know, for Hank to be able to be a little bit vulnerable and to show and be willing to show people this, because nobody would ever know. But I think it takes a lot of courage for a young man who plays, sports to be able to show other people that, what you can do with, through perseverance.
And to put the cherry on top of Hank's story, he's grown from not speaking at all to now preparing to give a graduation speech at Topeka High's commencement ceremony next weekend, because yeah, he's also class president.